All right, biology class. So this is third block, January 13th. I have the same reminders as yesterday up. And try to keep up with your assignments daily. Check your Canvas grades daily. Missing assignments will get a 0 until you complete them. And if you miss a Google Meet, you need to make sure you watch the recording. Today's lesson is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to demonstrate a lab for you. So when you go in here, we're going to take care of attendance first. Go to your home page, go to today's activities. Make sure you scroll down to today's Wednesday. And just a reminder, if you look here, yesterday you had a Quizlet review that you need to join my Quizlet class. There's a link in there for that, and you need to make sure you go through that Quizlet. You can earn extra credit points for that before you take this Classifying Life quiz. So that quiz will go over everything that we did yesterday. Then we're going to do the lab safety online lab demonstration. This is an example of some labs that I'm looking to purchase so that we can do online. And then when we're finished with that, if you're able to go through and do it yourself, I have a link there, or you can just rewatch this video. And there's a lab safety demo quiz that that you'll do. That's just 5 questions. So let's look at the attendance first. Hi, Maya.
Hi.
We're looking at the attendance, and I'm seeing I keep making mistakes with my attendance. So let me make sure that I have this set right. I keep forgetting to add the text box. No, here, text entry. So if you, once I save this, if you're already on the attendance, if you'll just refresh just so that you'll get the submit button. And we're going to do these together. So let's see. I wanted to go, oh, I went to the wrong thing. That's right, because you can see when I go over there. Classifying. All right, I wanted to actually have the slides and review the 6 things. In the recording I did for this, if you've watched it, I had to go through and actually make all these where you could see them. Some reason it imported a black background. I couldn't get rid of it, and you couldn't see anything. So there are 6 criteria for life. So one of them is composed of cells, 1 or more cells. So I'm kind of going to flip back and forth here. So there are 6 of them. I'm just going to number them. The first one is B, contain 1 or more cells, contain genetic material, and that is either DNA or RNA. We'll flip back over to make sure I get the ones that were listed. Growth and reproduction, in this case, they put together. Sometimes they'll list them separately. So growth and reproduction.
What was number 3?
Growth and reproduction.
I mean 2.
Oh, genetic material, DNA or RNA. And 4 is to respond to outside stimulus. Uh, 5 is the ability to adapt. and 6 is need energy. So ability to adapt and then need energy.
All right.
Oops, I need to put that as number 6. And you'll see them listed different ways. Some will add in their maintain homeostasis. That's kind of falls, combining 4 and 5 kind of together. So but these were the 6 that we went over. And so submit that, and that'll get you your extra credit points. Now, just to back up a little bit, yesterday we talked about classifying life, so we did some notes. There was a video, I had a puzzle video for you to watch and answer, and then there was a card sort for you to do. And this one was in a Google Slides, so you have to click on when you go to that page, you click on the link, and it'll open in a separate tab. And I think the submit is back on the previous tab. So the submit buttons sometimes can be hard to find on that one. I had a Quizlet review up, and in here, just make sure that you click on the join my class right here, and you actually click on join when you get there, so that I can see that you do the review, because that will earn you some extra credit when you do a couple of those activities there within that. So that was kind of yesterday. Once you do all that from yesterday, there is for today, a classifying life quiz. It is going to just be questions based on the notes from yesterday. So you'll do that. I'm going to do a demo of a lab in just a minute. And then after that, there's just 5 little questions. But you can always go back and relook in this recording when I post it here for you. And since you're here and able to participate, can you tell me when you click on this, because my account is actually linked to this, if you click on that link, do you will this open, when it opens, will that open for you? I want to know if it'll work for you. Do you see this?
All right. What's it called?
It's, did it take my, no, it's this one right here, Lab Safety Online Lab Demo.
Okay.
Oh, and I see what it's doing. Dang it. It takes you to the whole thing. Okay. When you click on that, do you get this?
It's loading.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take that off because, darn it.
Yeah, it goes to please use your login credentials in order to
Okay, so
access.
it won't work. Okay, that link won't work. That's what I was afraid of. So I'm gonna have to go through this lab together. Ian, you could unmute long enough to let me know if Carter's there.
Yeah.
Carter's there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, what I'm doing is I'm going to take you through a demo. This is some labs that I'm hoping that I can purchase where we can have some online options for some labs, and it takes a little bit for it to load, as you can see. So I'm going to step you through how this works and kind of explain some things as we go along with it. And I'm hoping when we get to our next unit, we will have been able to purchase these, and I'll be able to assign one for us to do. It's almost it's kind of game-like. It's a simulation. You're maneuvering some things around, but it also has information in it, and it seems to take a little while to load. So let me close out some things. There we go. You just have to be patient once we get it. This is the one thing that the guy said that makes is the loading is the slow part. But once it loads, usually it's pretty good, but it takes a while to get out the whole simulation loaded. So what these do is they put you in like a real live, or what would look like a real live lab, and you're going to be using some of the equipment and different things that you would experience in a maybe university lab setting or in a medical lab setting, that type of thing. And so this one just takes us through some of the lab safety. And so I'm hoping you're able to hear the person talking.
Lab safety simulation. I am Dr. One, your AI lab assistant. Today, you will learn everything you need to know to survive your first day in the lab. Are you ready for the challenge? This simulation uses voiceovers. If you don't have audio, click the speaker symbol on the top right of your lab pad to switch the play mode. If you disable the sound effects, the lab pad will slide up whenever there are instructions to read. You can select what type of audio you prefer. Deselecting any of the options will mute that option. Click Continue to learn how to navigate through your mission. Using the lab pad is an important way to get the most out of this simulation. Is this the first time you've played a Labster simulation?
Now, if you were actually doing this, I'd have you click yes, and you would walk through the features. But I'm going to try to talk you through them, and so I'm going to click no. And notice you have...
First, find a lab coat. Click on it to put it on.
When you actually get to manipulate in this, if you click here, you've got to hold and drag. So it's easier for me to put a USB mouse in and do this. Notice it kind of highlights the lab coat.
Now pick up the safety goggles and you are ready to go.
You click on it and it picks it up. And so we're outside the lab right now. We haven't gone in the lab.
Click on the door to enter the laboratory.
So with this arrow, I'm going to click and hold down and move over to the door. And then I'm going to click open to open the door.
This lab was used by first-year chemistry students, and they obviously didn't leave it in the safest condition. Have a look around and identify the different hazards. Find 5 safety hazards and click on them.
All right, so what we'll do is, notice it's saying down here what you're looking for in the little lab pad here. And we're just going to move around. And this one right here is hard to see that there's something wrong here. But if you click here, it kind of tells you cluttered workbench. It needs to be clean. So we're going to click on that. Well, maybe.
That's it. This bench looks very messy. It is important to keep the lab bench tidy. Any clutter should be cleared away before starting a new experiment, and there should be no hazardous chemicals left on a workbench.
So
1 hazard down, 4 more to go. Identify the hazards by clicking on them.
So there's the hazardous material there. So things were left out. So we're going to keep looking. Just keep twirling around. And then we're going to click right here.
A sink full of dirty glassware isn't a nice surprise. Make sure you always clean, dry, and put away the equipment after every experiment. Let's remove the glassware.
And all you're going to do is click on the glassware and it'll take it away. Notice how
Beautiful, clean and tidy.
it is
There are
highlighting
3
some
more
of the things.
hazards. Can you find them?
So notice the arrows are kind of pointing you. There's 2 arrows this way. So there's 2 that's going to be over here somewhere. This one is 1 right here.
For sure, chemicals need to be stored in designated cupboards and not just placed on the floor. This is especially important for reactive chemicals. Flammable liquids need to be stored in fireproof cabinets. There are 2 more hazards. Can you find them?
All right,
Well
this
spotted.
part.
Every lab has 2 emergency exits which ensure that nobody gets cornered in the event of a fire. The emergency door isn't any good if it is blocked by objects. Click on the handcart to move it to a safe location.
So you notice the arrow was pointing down, so I had to move. Now I can click on it.
Well done. The emergency exits have to always be clear. There is one more hazard. Click on it.
See how the arrow's just
The
pointing to
fume
where
hood
it is.
constantly draws air through a filter to ensure that you don't get in contact with dangerous chemicals. The airflow only works effectively if the glass sash is pulled down. Let's close this fume hood.
So we're
What a relief. Now the air is safe to breathe. Time to take care of the hazardous chemicals on boxes. Click on them to have a closer look. Click on the bottle containing flammable liquid. Check the media tab for help.
all right. If you didn't know which one of these were flammable, you would click here and click on the media tab. But this is a fire.
Well
and
done.
it says a
The
fire
red diamonds on the
symbol.
bottles are called hazard symbols. Each of them depicts a different hazard. Have a look at the following overview of the different hazard symbols.
All right. So, and then if you need to access this picture again, it's going to be under media, this tab here. Theory has all the information that is gone over. So if you need to click here to before you answer a question.
Which symbol depicts an oxidizing reagent?
All right, so if you didn't remember which one of these was oxidizing, you would go to media and you would look for oxidizing. So I'm going to look here, and it's this one that looks like it's a head with fire on top of it. So I'm going to go back to home, and that is going to be D.
Precisely. Oxidizing reagents are very dangerous because they can accelerate chemical reactions, such as fires, by providing electronegative atoms.
And so you get 10 points if you get it right the first time. You get 3 chances to get the question right, and it deducts points as you go. And so if you had access to it and doing this, this would be what your final score would be up here when we're finished. So click
What does
continue.
the following symbol mean?
And if you don't remember, go here, click on the image, health hazard. So there should be no reason you wouldn't get all of these
You got it.
correct
There
with
are
the
many
full
kinds of health
amount of
hazards.
points.
Substance. Here is an image of the hazard symbol on the box. What does it mean?
Again, you'd go back to media if you didn't remember, but that is an explosive.
These chemicals definitely don't belong here. Imagine if somebody walks into the pile and the glass bottles fall onto the floor. If they break, they could light a fire, and the explosives next to them would certainly produce a bombastic news story. Click on the bottles to remove them. Let's get rid of this safety hazard. Click on the cluttered workbench to tidy it up.
So I'm just dragging up.
Oh dear, this workbench is a real mess. Hopefully, you will never see something like this in a real lab. Let's take care of the problems one by one. Start with turning off the Bunsen burner. It is very dangerous to keep an open flame unattended. Turn off the Bunsen burner flame.
All right, so we're going to click here.
Great. Now click on an object that you should never bring into the lab.
All right, so we're going to look around, and we don't bring drinks.
Well spotted. Food and drink are strictly prohibited in the lab. Imagine if somebody grabbed the wrong bottle by mistake and took a sip of the toxic substance. There's another object that doesn't belong here. Find it.
This one.
Exactly. Personal equipment is not supposed to be placed on workbench surfaces. Could you imagine what would happen if this backpack caught fire? Before you touch anything else, better wear gloves. Click on the glove box to put some on.
I think this is having to do with the fact I am in presenting mode. Yeah. All right, so you kind of get
Click
the
on the
idea.
lab pad for more information.
You get the idea of what the lab looks like. Based on some of the other labs I've used before, I feel like you guys might enjoy this a little more. Do you think it would be something you would like to use as a lab?
There is a living organism on this bench. Can you find it? Oh, have a look at this. There is a bacteria colony growing on this agar plate. This might be some dangerous pathogen. We need to use a special bin for biological waste. Discard the petri dish with the unknown bacterial sample in the biohazard waste bin. There is still a protocol from a previous experiment on the table. Clean up the lab protocol. Oops, you just spilled a hazardous chemical. Have a look at the hazard symbol on the beaker.
And if you
What does the
forgot,
hazard symbol on the beaker mean?
again, if you forgot what it was, you go here, and I would go to all of these, and it's corrosive. Typically, that means it's a strong acid or base. So go back to home. You would click corrosive.
This is a corrosive chemical. We are dealing with either an acid or a base. You can use a pH indicator to figure out what it is.
This has only been happening since I've been trying to present. So I've showed it to my other class, and this one, when I used it the other day, it didn't do this. So you click continue.
You only need a tiny drop of the indicator. You can use a micropipette for this. Pick up a pipette tip from the box. Draw up a drop of the indicator liquid. Now add a drop to the spill to identify if it's an acid or a base. Fantastic. When you added the indicator liquid to the spill, the drop turned red. This means the spilled chemical must be a strong acid. We need to neutralize it before cleaning it up. Now add a drop to strong acids react with your skin can cause burns. That's why it's very important to protect your hands with gloves. Spills of strong acids or bases have to be neutralized before you can dispose of them. Sodium bicarbonate is the chemical term for baking soda. It neutralizes the acid, and the remains can be scooped into a plastic bin and discarded. Let's neutralize this acid spill. Pick up the baking soda. Put baking soda on the spilled solution. Well done. Now put the neutralizer back on the shelf. Now it is safe to use an absorbent paper to clean up the spill. It can be disposed of in the solid chemical waste. Usually, the chemical waste is stored in a fume hood. During the cleanup, your gloves got contaminated. You need to dispose of them to avoid spreading chemicals over everything you touch. Click on the trash bin to discard. Why didn't you just clean the spill with water?
All right, water with an acid will actually react. So
Super. If you drop water into a strong acid, they react and produce a lot of heat. The reaction could potentially lead to splashes of acid. A drop of such a corrosive chemical in your eye could cause serious damage and lead to blindness. Now, just because this is a virtual lab, let's do something crazy and simulate a situation in which you don't wear any safety goggles. Don't try this at home. Put the goggles on the bench. Pour the beaker containing the unknown acid solution into the bottle with the unknown toxic liquid. Like I said, this seems to have triggered an interesting reaction. It seems potentially dangerous. Definitely, if you have no idea what kind of chemicals you are dealing with, you better get out of the lab until the danger is contained. In this case, we will do the opposite to show you what can happen if you make this critical mistake. Hopefully, you will remember this for the rest of your lab career, and never do it. Let's see what would happen if you close the bottle. Oh no, you've got acid in your eye. Quickly go to the red safety station next to the emerge. Push the toggle at the safety station to rinse your eyes with water. After washing the acid out of your eyes, you should immediately consult a doctor. Your eyes are very fragile and it is very important to protect them with safety goggles at all times. Why is it dangerous to wear contact lenses in the lab?
it would be liquid trapped under it.
The chemical
I'm going to
Your
kind of
decision
rush
to
through
evacuate
this.
the lab has been reconfirmed. If something is steaming or bubbling, you should never close it. If the reaction continues, the pressure will increase until it explodes. Congratulations on your smart decision. Now, can you find the fire blanket? What should you not do if a person's clothes suddenly catch fire?
You don't put it on or wrap it
You
around a
got it.
standing
The most
person.
effective way to extinguish burning clothes is by rolling on the floor. Water is also a good choice if it's in close proximity. If you see a burning person running down a corridor to reach a safety shower, stop them and try to smother the fire. Never use a fire blanket on a standing person. The blanket may create a chimney effect. What would you use if there was an open fire in the lab? Precisely. There are usually two different types of fire extinguishers: carbon dioxide-based extinguishers and foam-based extinguishers. Never use a carbon dioxide-based extinguisher on a person. Do you know the reason why?
And if you didn't, you could go to theory and it has the information there, and
Brilliant.
it's
Carbon
freezing.
dioxide is compressed inside the extinguisher and becomes freezing cold when it's released. What is the first thing you have to do if there is a fire in the lab?
You want to alert people before you start doing anything else.
Precisely. Fighting. Great job. You're a safety expert now. Your friend, Lucy, just entered the lab. She has never worked in a lab before. Teach her what you have learned today. What lab safety protocols is Lucy violating? You can always lower the lab pad and have a look at her again.
All right, she doesn't have her lab coat or goggles on, so that would be she's not dressed
That's right.
properly.
Have a look. Click on different parts of Lucy's clothing. Well spotted. When you are working in the lab, long hair should be tied back. Imagine if her hair catches fire on a Bunsen burner flame. These loose sleeves are very impractical. You don't want your sleeves soaked in chemicals. Well spotted. Large jewelry can get in the way, fall into chemicals, or cause a hazard and has no place in the lab. She looks pretty unprofessional without a lab coat, right? Not only do lab coats make you look like a pro, but they also protect your clothes and skin from any minor spills. That's it. It is compulsory to wear long pants in the lab to protect your skin from spills. Exactly. Toes should be covered to protect from falling objects as well as chemical spills. Good job. You have already learned why it's important to properly protect your eyes. Normal glasses don't suffice. Never forget to wear safety goggles. Well done. You have proven that you know how to work in a lab. What do you have to do before leaving the lab to make sure you don't carry traces of chemicals outside?
All right, you should narrow it down to C and D, and you would want to take your lab coat off first.
If there are traces of chemicals, let me ask you one last question.
And then you would
Do you
always
feel like
have
you
one
gained
of
relevant
those.
knowledge during this simulation? Thank you for your feedback.
All right, so if you were to actually have done this yourself, you would have right now screenshotted this so I could get your score. But
Together with your
or this
100%
page, but when we have a subscription to it,
Hope you enjoyed it and you feel wiser now.
it will link straight to Canvas. So I wanted to demo that. If you don't mind, just in the little chat, or I guess maybe tomorrow, let me know how you like it, how you liked it, because I'm looking at getting several of those for us to do. The others would be more based on our content. So just a quick review. You've got a quiz for classifying from yesterday, classifying life. You've got this lab safety demo quiz, just 5 questions based on what I showed you to do today, and work on any makeup work. And I'll put the, or missing work, and I'll put the video here when we're finished. They actually scheduled a meeting for me right here at 11. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out.